Welcome to Brandon Hall Group's Excellence at Work podcast. You will hear from industry leaders covering innovative, cutting-edge business, learning, and HR topics that weave current market research and technology into each episode. Our Excellence at Work podcast is hosted by Brandon Hall Group's Chief Operating Officer and Principal HCM Analyst, Rachel Cook.
Hi, thank you for tuning in to Brandon Hall Group's Excellence at Work podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Today, we're going to be talking about, our topic is focused on Accenture's Gold Award-winning case study, Accenture New Joiner Experience, bringing virtual reality to onboarding at scale. And with me to discuss and share with us today is Katy Geraghty, the Global Head of Onboarding at Accenture. Welcome. Hi, Katy. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here today, and just want to give our listeners a little bit of information about you and your background. You've been with Accenture for 23 years, and you've more or less have grown up in the human resources space, with most of your time spent looking after strategic global programs. Now, leading global onboarding means that Katy's team has the tremendous opportunity to capture the hearts and minds of over 100,000 new joiners. That's a lot. They continually innovate to create an exciting new joiner experience that begins the moment a new joiner accepts their offer to the day 365 of their career at Accenture. Katy also lives in Naperville, Illinois, with her husband Tom, 3 college kids, and golden doodle Penny. Katy also enjoys when she's not in a conference call and not dealing with the pandemic. You love live music and all around your neighboring area in the beloved city of Chicago.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
And for those of you, I'm sure everyone has heard of Accenture, but just to share how large they are a global professional services company with leading capabilities in digital, cloud, and security, combining unmatched experience and specialized skills across more than 40 industries. They offer strategy and consulting, interactive technology and operations services, all powered by the world's largest network of advanced technology and intelligent operations centers. They're an amazing company. They've also received 107 Brandon Hall Group Excellence Awards in 2021. So that's outstanding. Congratulations. We just recently had Rajiv Chandran, the Chief Learning Officer, on our podcast, and that was a really it was a great conversation around Accenture's learning strategy and just kind of where we are in today's technology and innovation and how that's weaved in your day-to-day lives. So it was a great podcast. I'm looking forward to our talk today, and can't wait to pick your brain around your award-winning program here. And just to kind of get us started here, Katy, what were some of the driving needs behind redesigning your onboarding program?
Sure. I like to start with my own journey to this onboarding role. So, 2 years ago, we were about a year into the pandemic, and that's when I moved into this global onboarding role. Fun fact, I was previously on our global leadership development team working very closely with Rajiv Chandran, who you just mentioned. So, Rajiv and I are very well connected. But yeah, I took this new opportunity 2 years ago. We were a year into the pandemic at that point. The team had done an amazing job in 2020 of very quickly pivoting from what used to be a in-person, in every office onboarding experience to a completely virtual experience. So the how rapidly they did that is unbelievable. But a year into the pandemic and staring down, kind of a no end in sight at that point, we decided that it was time to really innovate in this space, because as amazing as it was that we were able to quickly pivot to virtual, the experience did lack connection, and we were often kind of hearing about new joiners sometimes being at their desk for a few days without even meeting another human. And so we knew the opportunity was there now, since we weren't going to be going back anytime in person soon at that point. Um, and also the other driving or driver kind of behind our innovation in the onboarding space was we had gone live with our new purpose at Accenture. And our purpose is to deliver on the promise of technology and human ingenuity. And so with that purpose kind of, being launched at Accenture, we really saw the opportunity to immerse our new joiners in our purpose. So underpinning everything that we've done was this desire to really immerse our new joiners in that purpose, so they could experience, not just like see it on a slide, but they could experience the promise of technology and human ingenuity. And so we were kind of given the challenge statement: how might we design a consistent and scalable new joiner experience that helps our new joiners fall in love with us from day one, immerses them in our purpose, as I just said, and helps them really live and love the Accenture culture. And so from there, we started to really research both externally and internally by talking to thousands of new joiners and recruiting managers. And we came up with 5 learning objectives for the experience. One is that we want to make sure that every new joiner at Accenture, regardless of your career level or your location, every new joiner feels welcomed and like they made the right decision. We don't want them second guessing on day one, right? And so that was the first learning objective for the experience. The second one was we want to make sure they feel a sense of belonging even before they join. And that they have meaningful connections, as I was just saying, right? Not sitting behind a computer, not meeting other people. And we want them to feel that they are an ambassador and champion of our purpose and culture. And like they can go home the evening of day one and talk to their family and friends about what Accenture does. And then finally, like they feel guided, supported, and ready to contribute. So those were the 5 learning outcomes that formed what we now call the new joiner experience, or like everything at Accenture has to have an acronym. We lovingly call it NJX. So that is kind of the journey to NJX.
And onboarding is so critical to to the fabric of your company, because you spend so much time in recruiting and bringing people on, and then if you miss, or if you have a disconnect at the very beginning of that relationship, it really can turn people away. And we see it oftentimes, how much people join a company and then leave within that first year. And it starts at the very beginning, and how well connected they are, and how they feel, whether they belong, and there's an opportunity for them to grow. And so if that's not well articulated in the very beginning, you really do lose them. And our research shows that, your research shows that. So your solution to your onboarding, now that going virtual, what obviously you were able to do this through technology and virtual reality. How did you redefine your onboarding, and what technologies did you use as and virtual reality to meet the needs of your new approach here?
Sure. Yes, for sure. Technology does underpin the entire NJX experience. And as we were designing it, we knew that while the pandemic had exposed the immense potential of technology, it simultaneously highlighted the ways in which technology can fall flat, leaving us feeling more isolated than ever. So we set out to meet that challenge by using technology to not only create the best possible experience for our new joiners and ensure that connection and belonging are at the heart of our new joiner experience. So let me go ahead and describe what is NJX, and I will weave the technology component that underpins all of it throughout the description. But we have a 3-phase approach to onboarding, and 3 phases to NJX. One of them is called the countdown phase. So that is an experience that starts from offer accept and goes through day one. The second phase is called the NJX welcome phase, which is the 2-day orientation when a new joiner first joins. And then the third phase is the year one phase, which carries a new joiner through their entire first year with us. Because we know that great onboarding doesn't just stop after the first few days. So to describe a little bit about each one of those phases, the countdown phase, starting at offer accept, something that we are doing very differently than we used to is we are sending every new joiner a consistent welcome kit anchored to our commitment to sustainability. I'll give you a little teaser of the welcome kit. So we have these office supplies that are made of bamboo, and we have paper notebooks that you can take notes when you're doing your welcome experience. And we have an exciting unboxing experience with messages in the box around our commitment to sustainability and welcome to Accenture, and here are our leadership essentials and things like that. So that is very different, and I'm excited about that. While it isn't necessarily technology, I'm excited about the welcome kit because what we saw in the past was that we had a very inconsistent way of sending a welcome. Sometimes it was like a beautifully branded Patagonia hoodie, and sometimes it was like nothing at all. And so we were creating the haves and the have-nots. And so now we have this consistent welcome kit. We also have, and I'm getting back to the technology piece, is a portal called Countdown to Accenture, which is a place for a pre-joiner to go as they get closer and closer to their start date. And it unlocks content the closer you get to your start date. And the content is all about what it's like to work at Accenture. What are people's different career paths? What are some tips and tricks to get you ready for day one? So it's really a way for new joiners to get excited for their first day. We are also now onboarding our new joiners in Workday, which is another technology solution, and it allows the new joiners to do what used to be like a stack of paperwork that you would get on day one that they can now do before day one online seamlessly. So onboarding is now live in Workday. And then they start on day one, and that's where they move into the welcome phase. So during the welcome phase, we welcome them within their country. Sometimes we have hundreds of different welcomes within a country because, as you said, Rachel, we onboard over 100,000 new joiners a year. Last year it was over 200,000, if you can believe that. But we have these welcome sessions that take place in Microsoft Teams. So we are a big consumer of Microsoft Teams, and have a great partnership with Microsoft. So we use Teams for the welcome session, but in order to bring that connection into the experience, we actually break out groups of hundreds of new joiners into small start groups of 7 to 10. So they really start to build their network. We give them activities to do, content to debrief, bonding sort of activities. So you actually have a start group that you're kind of meeting with in and out of that 2-day session. Also in the welcome phase is a storytelling experience that we've created all around our core values. And so we call that Dear World. And Dear World is an external ecosystem partner of ours in the leadership development space, but they partnered with us to really create this experience where our new joiners learn our core values. We used to do this on slides. It was so boring. And our core values are very inspirational. So now they learn the core values in this facilitated way where they actually think of a personal story in their own lives that anchors to one of our core values. And then they get together with their start groups and they share and pair and share and talk to each other about their personal stories. So it does a couple of things. One, it introduces our core values in a much more exciting way, as I was saying. And then two, it helps our new joiners really internalize our core values. And three, it sends the message that you may be joining a company of 700,000 people and we are huge, but your personal story matters on day one. So that is all done through Microsoft Teams. And then the final thing that I will talk about in the 2-day welcome is we are onboarding people in the metaverse. So our new joiners go to a space called One Accenture Park in the metaverse. It is we created it on a Microsoft Alt Space platform, but there are many different platforms for the metaverse. And One Accenture Park was created just with new joiners in mind. So it is a space where new joiners connect. They also play a game that helps them learn about Accenture, how we're organized, get together with their start groups and divide and conquer to play this game, where we introduce them to a fictitious client. And the client is called Global Coffee. Global Coffee has 7 challenges, and essentially, the new joiners have to find different stories of how Accenture helps our clients as they walk around One Accenture Park in the metaverse. So they're there as their avatars with their start groups, and they have to choose the story that best fits one of the challenges that they were given that Global Coffee has. So that really helps them understand how Accenture is organized, what we do with our clients, and it gives them something to brag about, right? Like they can go home after their orientation and talk to their friends and family about like how Accenture helps our clients, and this is the company that I've joined. So that's what we do in the metaverse with new joiners. And then finally, I'll just touch on the year one experience. We're not done with the metaverse during orientation. We will be bringing new joiners back into the metaverse for ongoing connections, ongoing formal events where they hear from our senior leaders. They can go into One Accenture Park any time. It's like an open door, and connect with other new joiners throughout their whole first year. So that's NJX in a nutshell.
Very cool experience. And it's I love that you're using Microsoft Teams to do breakouts, and so I'm sure that kind of gets them connected with each other and others early on, and even in a virtual setting, it can be very engaging. So it feels like you're almost in person with people nowadays. It doesn't feel necessarily any different, just like you and I today.
Right, exactly. And I actually just heard a little anecdote about one of our start groups that, for met in their breakout, and now they're having lunch together in person in real life in the UK. So it's definitely
Oh, nice.
transcending outside of their 2-day experience.
Now, what was your approach, your development strategy for designing NJX?
So we knew that we wanted it to be engaging, right? We did not want it to be passive, just watching videos, self-paced, that kind of thing. There's definitely a time and place for that kind of learning, but we knew that NJX needed to be engaging to foster that sense of community and connection and belonging. So we took a mixed media approach, combining facilitated content. So that's what happens on your Microsoft Teams call. We also use PowerPoint Live, which is a great tool for facilitators because it allows you to see your speaker notes without the rest of the group seeing the speaker notes, and allows you to play videos right there on the screen. So PowerPoint Live was a big part of that bite-sized content. Breakouts, as I mentioned already, were a part of our approach. Bite-sized information so that we are not fire hosing new joiners with all kinds of content. I kind of joke that I've built a fortress around NJX with very rigorous principles around what content we can put in front of new joiners and what can wait for later, because daily, sometimes even it feels like hourly, I'm getting requests to like, let's have new joiners learn this and this and this, and it can't be everything all at once. And so bite-sized information and content was really critical. We do have some videos. We call them "What's Up with Accenture" videos, and it's a new joiner actually asking questions to some of our leaders around like what's up with performance at Accenture, or what's up with learning at Accenture, and then the leader talks about like how we do performance achievement, and how we do the importance of learning at Accenture, and various other things that make Accenture who we are, and our culture. So those are the What's Up with Accenture videos that are peppered throughout that Microsoft Teams welcome. And then finally, virtual reality, right? Like we are, as I said, using Microsoft Alt Space. That's where we built One Accenture Park. And so all of those different technologies kind of coming together, along with, in our countdown phase, the countdown to Accenture. And then in our year one phase, we have a website called Year One Accenture with checklists for new joiners to kind of help them through. It's curated content that helps them through that entire first year. So that was kind of our approach, was like bring all these things together, um, make it social with two-way interaction and lots of engagement, and really make sure, like, just reinforcing my point around the fortress that I've built, like making sure the content is truly relevant for the new joiner at that moment, not something that they might need to know for later, but like at that moment that it's truly relevant for them, because we can always bring them to other content, later in their careers. So
Absolutely. Yeah. So you want to give them just what they need when they need it and not overwhelm them with too much information early on, because again, you can only absorb so much in a period of time. And, the chunk size, the nuggets are way more beneficial for people to absorb than trying to overwhelm them with just too much. And so obviously your results are extraordinary. So why don't you share a little bit about, what you saw and the feedback that you received from those that have gone through this program?
sure. I still call it a new program because we launched with our first pilot a year ago, and we are just about to go live with our final geographies, in Germany and Switzerland, and then we will be 100% scaled at Accenture. So while I still think of it as new, we have had 100,000 new joiners go through this experience. We just crossed that milestone. So we have a lot of feedback.
Nice.
It's nice that, with Microsoft Teams, we're able to give them a end of uh, surveys in their 2-day welcome at the end of the 2 days right there in Teams, and give them the time to do their surveys. So we have 75% of our new joiners actually do the survey, which is a huge response rate, when you look at kind of surveys broadly. And what we're hearing from
Sure.
them is that they really love it. The metaverse is, a big buzzword right now. And so they are really loving that they get to learn, especially if you're not a gamer, like how to move around in the metaverse and experience the metaverse on day one. And we hear great feedback about the authenticity of that dear world uh, core values experience that I was sharing with you. And we have 91% of our new joiners that say they absolutely love it. Out of a scale of 1 to 5, that 91% of them are giving it a 4 and a 5. And of that, few percent that didn't give it a 4 and a 5, when we really dig into it, it's typically because a basic need wasn't met, which is really important in onboarding. Like they didn't get their laptop, or their
Mm.
credentials aren't working, or something like that, that we can definitely work through. But usually, if that basic need is not met, it's really hard to experience the rest of it. But we're hearing great. And one of the things that I didn't expect and am so delighted by is um, all of the social media posts that we are seeing. We are seeing thousands, whether it's the welcome kit or the 2-day orientation or the metaverse experience, where people are posting, selfies with their avatars and things like that. We have thousands of social media posts now, and I can say pretty confidently that I think in the past we did not have what I would call a brag worthy onboarding experience, and so that's been really exciting to see as well.
That's exciting. And there's just so much that goes into your program, and why you were awarded what you did for our goals. So it's really important initiative that you've created and you've worked on and you deployed. So again, I commend you for that. And before we wrap up today, is there anything else you'd like to share about about the future of this initiative, or what's new, what to expect from Accenture, your team?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that, so we're not stopping the innovation in onboarding. So we will continue to innovate. And one of the things that I mentioned as part of the year one experience briefly is that we've just piloted a metaverse experience that will happen in year one. It'll be a quarterly event for new joiners called Accenture Launch. And it is a way for new joiners to meet in the metaverse, um, and hear our senior leaders actually in a TED Talk type fashion, talk about our business and our business imperatives, and give new joiners kind of the secret scoop or the inside scoop, on various things about our business. And so Accenture Launch will be coming very soon. The pilot was very successful. And then also, in One Accenture Park, that game that I talked about, the global coffee game, we are doing sort of a 2.0 version of that game where new joiners will actually, if you think of, I know I can't show you One Accenture Park right now, but it is huge. But now new joiners will actually be able to get on a monorail and go to other spaces in the metaverse to play that game, so that they're not just reading stories about how we help our clients, but they're actually seeing it in action as they go to other spaces in the metaverse. So that's coming very soon.
And are they going to be interacting with other new journers or other, is this just for new journers, or is this also for other employees that engage with the new joiners?
Yep, the One Accenture Park experience is specifically for new joiners. It is part of Accenture's nth floor,
Mhm.
which is our broader metaverse solution.
Okay.
So the nth floor is kind of, think of it as the wrapper for the Accenture metaverse, and you can enter One Accenture Park from the nth floor. But we also have other spaces like a lounge where you can do meetings in a very comfortable environment. They even have a basketball hoop where you can shoot baskets, and all kinds of things that you can do in the metaverse. And we've got several spaces at Accenture.
Very cool. Lots of exciting stuff for you and to what the future holds. So I can't wait to see more today. Thank you for sharing and for I could tell how excited you are about your baby, and you should be very proud.
Thank you so much for having me, Rachel.